right, so I'll go ahead and get started. So I know we had the conference call yesterday. That was mostly for tech to figure out how to get the program set up. So today we're going to focus on how the actual Brainfuse service works. So this is the main page that we're looking at that everybody should see here on my screen. So this is what your students will see when they connect to Brainfuse. So basically today I'm just going to click on all the options here and show you exactly how everything works. Pretty much all the options we have here are customizable in that each of these buttons you see here, they're optional. So if there are services here that are not relevant to your students, we can remove them.
Okay.
So if you have any questions as I'm going through everything here, feel free to shout them out. I'll try to stop and ask for questions as well every few minutes, but again, it's only the two of you here, so if you have a question, just go ahead and ask.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so there's three tabs here. Expert Help is the first, sort of the default tab. Then we also have the Study tab and the Collaborate tab. So each of these options, each of these tabs has a few different options you can click on. So each one of these is sort of a different service that we offer. So starting with the Expert Help tab, I'm just going to work my way down the page here. So our first button is Live Help. So this allows your students to connect with our live tutors. It's sort of our foundational service. So it lets students connect and ask any questions they have, to an actual live tutor. So it can be a homework question, or it could be, a general, I need help on a certain topic type of question. So to actually connect with a tutor, you just choose the subject available here. Mm-hmm. So we have business. I'll click on each one to show you the subjects offered. So under business, we have accounting, econ, and finance. Under computer and tech, we have Excel, PowerPoint, Windows, and Word. Under English, we have reading and writing.
Mm-hmm.
Under math, we have a number of math subjects here.
Wow.
And then under science, we have anatomy, bio, chem, and physics. So you just choose the one you want, and then click on this button right here to get live help. So that opens up our online classroom and connects you with a tutor. You can also click here if you'd like a Spanish-speaking tutor. And we'll look at a live session at the very end today. So I'm going to go over all the services first, and then the last thing we'll do is open up a live session.
Okay.
So that was the Live Help button. Right next to that, we have Skill Surfer. So this essentially allows students to access lessons that we have created here on their own. So they're not connecting with a live tutor here. They can just choose from the available subjects here and then look through the lessons and videos that we have created. So if, for example, I click on college algebra, we have all these different subtopics. They're listed over here on the left, and then over here on the right, they're listed in blue. And under each one, we have a number of lessons and videos available. So the student can look through these. They can find the topic that they're looking to get some help on. We might have a couple of lessons. We might have some videos on that topic as well. So you'll see the green are all videos. These are all things that we've created. So the videos are, they have audio, so they're voiced over. Usually they'll go through sample problems of that subject, as well as going over the general topic, sort of like a video recording of what you'd have in a textbook. So these are here for students who want to look through them. We have options for English, reading and writing, some math subjects, and also some science subjects.
Good.
The next option here is the Writing Lab. So this lets students send in pieces of writing to have them reviewed by our tutors. So if a student's working on a paper or an essay for a class, they can send it in here and have one of our writing tutors look it over. So submit a document, you just follow the steps here. So you can attach a file from your computer. You add any comments you'd like down here in the text box, any comments you'd like to make to the tutor. Any standard document type is fine for the submission. So most students send in Word documents, but all these different file formats are fine. Add any comments down here, and then click on the Submit button to send that in. So once a student sends in their paper, the message here that they see says they'll receive a response within 1 business day, So that's our turnaround time. But as soon as a student sends in a paper, it's available to our tutors to edit. So one of them might look it over and send back their comments, within an hour or two. But at most, we'll respond within 1 business day. But even if a student sends in a paper on Friday night or Saturday morning, we usually will send that back at most within 24 hours. We just say 1 business day, but our tutors are supposed to send everything back within 24 hours. So usually you'll get it back. Even if you send it in on Saturday morning, you'll have it back by Sunday morning. So the message here also directs you to the message center. So that's right up here at the top of the page. That's where you go to retrieve the response that we send back. So right here is the document that we just sent in. When the tutor sends their response, that'll show up right below the document that you sent in. Our tutors focus on providing comments and suggestions to the student to how they, as far as how they can improve their writing and improve that paper. So the tutor's not trying to make all the changes for the student. They're not trying to pick out every typo or grammar error. They're focusing more on the big picture, on how to write a better paper. So the student can use the tutor's comments to go back, improve their paper, before they actually turn it in to their teacher or professor.
So they don't mark every spelling error and everything like that?
No, they don't. If there are recurring grammar errors or recurring spelling errors, the tutor will point that out, maybe point out the major errors that were made, but no, they're not going to fix every error. So that was the writing lab. Right next to that, we have 24/7 Center. This option works the same way as the writing lab, except 24/7 Center is for academic questions. So you can send in a question here for all the standard academic topics, the same ones that we saw before. So you choose the topic, type out a question. You can attach a document here if you'd like. That's optional. And then click on Submit, and that gets sent in to us. One of our tutors will respond, again, within 1 business day at the most. But especially for questions sent in here, we usually respond more quickly than one business day. They're saved in the message center, just like the writing lab documents. And also, we'll never give out an answer to questions sent in here. So if a student sends in a math question or an econ question, what the tutor will usually do is work through a similar type of problem with different numbers, different figures, to show the student how you work that type of question. And then the student can then go back and work on their specific question on their own.
Good.
The next option here is the language lab. So this is really for anyone who's learning to speak Spanish, so English speakers who are learning Spanish. That's the only language we currently offer. So in the drop-down menu, Spanish is the only option here. So you can choose that, click on the Connect with Tutor button, and that connects you with a live tutor who can help you with learning Spanish. We also had the option in the Live Help button here, where you can click on this checkbox here to get a Spanish-speaking tutor. So this will also get you a Spanish-speaking tutor. This is used more by native Spanish speakers, though, so someone who wants to get, economics help in Spanish, rather than someone who's learning the Spanish language. The Adult Learning Center option here may or may not be relevant for your students, but it's something we offer. So I'll click on this here. It's a service we offer with different clients, so there's a little bit of overlap with the options that we're seeing here within the Adult Learning Center. So the options here on the right-hand side of the Adult Learning Center, under where it says Lifelong Learning, these are some of the same options that we've seen so far, and there are a couple that we'll see later. So the live tutoring option, the writing lab, and 24/7 Center, 24/7 Help, those are the same services as the ones we saw before. So these are just some academic tutoring options here that are really geared towards adult learners. On the left-hand side, though, we have some additional options. So again, some of these or all of these may not be relevant for your students, but we offer help for the GED test here and also for the U.S. citizenship test. Then we also offer help with resumes. So I'll click on this option here. So any student who's working on a resume, we have online resources here for resumes on the left. In the middle, you can upload your resume to us. So that works just like the writing lab, where a student can send in a piece of writing to have it reviewed. Here you can do the exact same thing with your resume. We have resume tutors who will review that and send it back. And then on the right, we have live resume help. So this will connect you with a live tutor, and you can ask any questions you have about your resume or go over it in real time. The Microsoft Office help option here, that's next. We offer help with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So we have some options here on the left for online resources, which includes some tutorials. And then on the right, you can connect with a live tutor for Excel, PowerPoint, or Word. You also had the option of doing that within our live help button back on the main page. And then the career resources button here, the last option. This is a list of websites that we've compiled that your students can use to find jobs to apply to. So we have general job search websites here at the top. Further down the page, we have job sites for students and recent graduates. And down at the bottom, we have job sites for veterans. So those were the options here in the Adult Learning Center. You can click on the Home button to go back to the home page here. And the next button available here is LEAP. So we call this the College Skills Program. Do either of you have any questions up to this point?
No. No.
Okay. So the LEAP option here, when I click on LEAP, so when I click on it now, it takes me to this page, and that's because in this account, this student has already taken a quiz. So they took this English quiz here. Basically, LEAP allows you to take a diagnostic quiz. Based on the questions you answer incorrectly on the diagnostic quiz, it creates a lesson plan for you and assigns you lessons on topics that were related to the questions you answered incorrectly. So the first time you click on LEAP, this page is what will show up. So you can choose, we only have a few topics available for LEAP. So you can choose English, and then reading, or writing. So writing's not appearing here because writing is the one that I already took. Then you can also choose math, and you can choose college algebra or pre-algebra. So you choose the one you want, click on Start, and that will assign you the diagnostic test. And then once you've taken the test, you'll see a page like this one here. So basically this is a visual representation of the types of questions you answered incorrectly. So it uses those questions to assign you all these different lessons down here. So there's lessons and videos, just like we saw before. And then here there's also mini quizzes. So you take, you work through the lesson and the video on subject-verb agreement, and then here there's a little mini quiz on subject-verb agreement. So that'll just be a couple question quiz to make sure you understand the topic. You can also click on the live help option that's here next to each lesson, and that will connect you with a tutor who can help with that topic. And as you work through the lessons, they'll be marked as complete, and the chart up here will change color to let you know what parts you've completed. So it's just really a tool students can use to get some extra help, get some practice on some reading, writing, and algebra topics.
A question, and this would be eligible for any student that has a Pierpont UCA. Would that be the correct way to say that?
Those types of questions I'm not sure about. It will just depend on how you set up the link with our tech department.
Oh, okay. We have some, I saw that LEAP, we have some students in high school that are in a course called College 101, which I was thinking that college skills program would be helpful for them. But I think that I'm sure this is just geared for Pierpont students, but I think they might be Pierpont students. So if they are, that would be a nice link for them to use.
Yeah, and if for some reason they're not able to access it because of the way access is set up, I think yesterday you said you have Blackboard or something similar to that you use?
Yes.
Yeah, so if those students don't have access to Blackboard and wouldn't have access to the link, but you'd like them to have access to Brainfuse, that's something you can discuss with our tech department, and they might be able to work out some other way for them to access the service.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that was the LEAP option. The last option here in this tab is Tutor Match. This is a feature that essentially just lets you schedule a tutoring session in advance. So if you have a favorite tutor or an advanced subject where you want to make sure you get a tutor who's available. You can schedule a session in advance here, but it's not necessary. You can always go to the live help option to connect. The tutor match option is sometimes used by schools who also run their own tutoring program and want to use Brainfuse to set up tutoring sessions with their own tutors. So it can be used in different ways. But students can also use Tutor Match to schedule a session with one of our tutors.
Good.
Any questions about the options here in the Expert Help tab?
No. No.
Okay, so I'll move on to the Study tab here. The first option is Flashbulb. So this is an online flashcard service. So if you click on this button, students can enter their flashcards online. If they're trying to memorize something, rather than creating hard copies of flashcards, they can create sort of an online set of flashcards using the Create Now button here on the left. All these different topics you see over here, you can click on and access sets of flashcards in those topics that have been created by other students. So they're created by students. They may not be accurate. Plus, of course, they probably won't cover the exact words that you're looking to work on. But you always have these options here, and you can click on these sets of cards. So I'll click on one of them. This right here is what a set of flashcards looks like once a student has created it. So you don't just see the flashcards like you do with hard copies. You can click on each of these icons, and they let you do something different with the cards. So if you just want to see the flashcards, click on the first button here, and it just shows you the cards. You can click through them. But there's also a number of games here you can play. So once you've entered the cards, they're saved, and you can always log back in here. Click on the crossword puzzle, for example. It creates a crossword puzzle for you. The definitions you entered are the clues. You have to fill in the words over here. There's word unscrambles, other games available. You can take a quiz or a test. You can print the cards out if you'd like hard copies of them. So there's a lot of options here, just designed to make memorizing a little bit easier for students. So that was the flashbulb button here in the Study tab. Next we have the GRE. So again, some of these tests may not be relevant. They can be removed if they're not. But we have the GRE, AccuPlacer, and Compass here. So we essentially have the same options for these three tests. So if I click on the GRE button here, we have live help. So you can connect with a live tutor and get help preparing for each section of the GRE test. Then we have practice tests available. And then on the right, we have some resources available to help you study for the GRE. And again, we have the exact same options available for AccuPlacer and Compass. So if you click on these buttons, you'll see the same options. Practice test, resources, and live help. The resources button right here is something that's customizable for you. So it doesn't need to be here, but if you have any links you'd like to add into Brainfuse for your students to access, they would go right here. So some libraries or schools like to add a link to their own homepage or a link to other resources they have available to their students. Anything like that, you can send to us, and we'll add into the resources button here. And the last option here is the Test Center. So this just sort of lets students take general practice tests in various subjects. So you click on the Test Center. The students can choose English, math, or science, and then take some practice tests on the subjects that we have available here. So if you choose calculus, click on Take a Test. That'll just assign you a calculus test, and the student can take that for practice. The nice thing about all of our tests is that once you've taken one, you can then log in with one of our live tutors. And if you tell the tutor, I just took a calculus quiz, I'd like to go over the questions I got wrong, our tutors are able to access your test results and go over that with the student. Okay, any questions about the options here in the Study tab?
No.
Okay. So I'll move on to the Collaborate tab. We just have two options here, Meet and Brainwave. So the Meet option allows students to schedule an online meeting with whoever they'd like to invite. So you're connecting for this online meeting in our online classroom. It's the same one as when you connect in a live session with our tutors, except in a Meet session here, you're not connecting with our tutors. You're only connecting with the people you invite to the session. So students can use this to have a study group outside of the classroom, or even a teacher could use it to give extra help to students outside of the classroom. The nice thing about it is that everybody can be in a different location and they all connect in our online classroom. So again, we'll see the live session at the end today, and that will show you sort of the options you have in a live session and the options students would have if they connect for one of these Meet sessions. So you just follow the steps here to schedule the session. You have to enter email addresses for the people you want to invite, and then they'll receive an email with a link they can click on to join the session. And that will be saved in the calendar option up here at the top. So this is where that Meet session will be saved once you have it scheduled. Right next to the Meet option, we have Brainwave. So Brainwave, essentially, it gives you a smartboard and allows you to put whatever you want on the smartboard, and it records a little video of whatever you're putting on that board. So it creates a video recording. You might use it to show how to solve a multi-step math problem. So you can go through each step in sequential order, then you'll have a little video recording of how to solve that problem. Let me just show you how this works. It makes more sense once you see it. So you click on Create a Brainwave up here. This window tells you a little bit more about Brainwave, and then you can click on Begin Recording down here once you're ready. We call this the Brainwave Notepad. So this looks just like our online classroom that we'll see in a couple minutes, but essentially it's recording right now. I can use all these buttons to put various things on the whiteboard and create this little video. So for example, I can put a graph on the board using the graph tool here. I can use the shapes tool right here, which includes an arrow. I can put that onto the graph. And then, I could find the slope of that line, or whatever the problem is I'm trying to solve. I could go through all the steps there. It's recording. Once I'm done, I click on Stop Recording. You give that brainwave a name and click on Save. So that will save the brainwave right here, along with this one that was recorded just yesterday. So I can click on the play button here to replay that. Or you can also send these recordings to other people by clicking on the envelope icon over here. So you'll have to enter an email address, and that will email that brainwave to somebody else. So it'll just send them a link they can click on, and they can view that brainwave. We also have the Brainwave Library tab here. So this lets you type in a keyword and search through brainwaves that other people have created to see if there are any brainwaves on the topic you're working on. Just like those flashcards we saw before, where you can search through sets that other people have created. You can do the same thing here. And you can always click on My Brainwaves right here to access your Brainwaves page. Okay, so those are the main options offered in each of the 3 tabs. The next thing I'll do is connect for the live session. But do either of you have any questions before we do that?
No, not right now.
I only have one question. Maybe this isn't the time. I'm just wondering, would we have maybe a sandbox account where we could have access and try these features out and get a feel for it before it goes live for the students?
I would have to double check on that. I think it goes live July 1st, I believe.
First,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll jot down a note and see if that's possible to give you access before.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and we'll set up the live session. I'm just going to pause the screen for a second to get it set up. And then we'll go back to the home page here. And we saw a few different areas where you can connect with our live tutors. We have a lot of different subjects available, but one of the main options for live help is the first button we looked at, the live help button right here. So let's say I choose English and then writing, and I click on Get Live Help. So that causes the online classroom here to open up. It'll connect me with a tutor. The online classroom here always looks the same. So no matter what subject you choose, this is the online classroom you'll see. Just going to pause the screen for a second again. Okay, so this is the online classroom here. I'm connected with a tutor who happens to be on. The tutor is Billy. So you see the tutor greeted me down here. Hello, and what can I help you with today? So I'm just going to type something back to the tutor to let them know I don't need an actual session. So the main way the tutor and student communicate back and forth is through the chat box down here. So it's essentially an instant messaging feature, which most students will be familiar with today. The second main part of the online classroom is the whiteboard space up here on the top. So this area can be used for a number of different things. If a student logs in looking for help on a general topic, say it's multiplying fractions or some math topic, the tutor can load our lesson on that subject right onto the whiteboard here and then work through that with the student. If you have a student logging in to get help on a resume, our tutor is able to load our sample resumes, resume templates, same thing for cover letters here onto the whiteboard space. So our tutors have a lot of resources available that they're able to access if needed. But of course, a lot of the time, the whiteboard space here will just be used to work through a math problem or a chemistry problem, something like that. So the student can type their question on the board, and they would do that using all the different buttons here on the left-hand side. So if you put your mouse over each one, it gives you a little description of what that button does. So most of them are pretty self-explanatory. Everything that's put on the whiteboard here is visible by both the tutor and the student. So it's interactive. Whatever is put on the whiteboard can then be edited by the other person, and vice versa. So if a student types something on the board, the tutor can, underline part of the text, circle it, anything like that. It's like you're working on the same board.
Is this a situation again where they try to do a similar problem, or will they actually do the problem?
In this situation, because you're actually interacting with the student, they will try to give the student tips and hints as to how to work through a problem. If the student has no idea, the tutor might first work through a different type of question. But
Okay.
the way it usually goes is the student will type their question on the board. The tutor will ask, do you know what the first step is, or do you have any idea how to start? And then because the student's there and the tutor can work through it with them, they're not again going to give out the answer, but they'll work with the student.
Kind of like I would as a teacher. Just
Yeah.
What? And you said I'm sorry, I had a phone call on my house phone, but you said that July 1 we would have access to play around with this.
July 1st is the launch date, the official launch date. The question before was about whether you can get access to it before then.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, I would have to check on that. So I took a note of that, and I'll check to see if that's possible after the webinar today. So I'll check and get back to you. The ABC button here is the default. So when you first sign in, this is selected, and that lets you click anywhere on the board and then type out text. You can change the font style and size. You can change the color. You can copy and paste. So anything that can be copied and pasted can be pasted onto the whiteboard here. So if you want to get help on a paper you're working on, you can copy and paste a paragraph or part of the paper right onto the whiteboard here and then look at it with a tutor. You can also copy and paste a math problem from an online source. Anything that can be copied and pasted can be put right on the whiteboard. The graph tool that I used before actually lets you choose a number line or a graph. So I can choose the number line and click and drag that onto the board. Or I can choose the graph, click and drag that onto the board. And you can double click on the icons here to change the values on the number line or the graph. There's some basic shapes here. So you can put the lines onto the graph or some other shapes on the board as well. The math button gives you some math symbols to choose from. SCI does the same thing for science symbols. Superscript button here and a subscript button here. And down at the very bottom, that will clear the entire whiteboard. If you just put something on the board that's a mistake, you want to remove just that, you can use the undo arrow. That'll remove the most recent thing you put on the board. Up at the top, there's some additional options here. So you can click on the print button, and that will print out the whiteboard in case there's anything there that you want to remember. So maybe the tutor went over a problem that was very helpful. You can click on the print option to print it out. But you don't need to do that, because back on the website here, you also have this past sessions option. So all of your live tutoring sessions are recorded and saved here within your account. So they're essentially recorded like a video. You can log back in later, click on the play button for any of these sessions, and essentially rewatch a video recording of your live tutoring session. And you can,
but there's no audio, is that right? On that whiteboard page, there's no audio. You have to type your questions, Steve.
yeah, everything is typed when you're connected with our tutors. When you're connected in one of those meet sessions that we looked at before, where you can invite people to a live session, you use it to have a study group or something like that. In those sessions, you can use audio. So if you're connected with your friends and you all have audio capabilities on your computer, you can use audio there. This orange icon next to each live session lets you convert that file into a brainwave file. And if you remember with brainwaves that we looked at before, those can be sent to other people. So you can actually send recordings of your tutoring sessions to somebody else if you'd like to have them view it. This envelope icon right here lets you enter your email address, and then that will email a link to you that you can click on to rewatch the recording of the tutoring session here. So it's just another option. You can get access to that session recording in your email rather than having to sign into your Brainfuse account. So it's just a separate option, another option here. This button says Send File. This lets you upload a document directly to your tutor. So if you're working on a paper and you connect with an English writing tutor, you can send a copy of your paper to that tutor, and then the tutor would have that. They can read it through, make some suggestions, and they can actually send the document back to you if they need to, or they can go over their suggestions right on the whiteboard. And the last option here, the Cloud Pack Explorer. Cloud Pack is essentially a storage device. I didn't touch on this option right here, but it says My Cloud Pack here at the top of the page. So when you first open it, it'll just say My Cloud Pack, but I added a couple folders here. You can add whatever folders you'd like, and then you can upload documents into these folders, and that will save those documents here. So in one way, it just works as a storage device. It'll save files here, and then you can log in to access them later. But the nice thing about it is that any documents you have uploaded there in your Cloud Pack, when you're in a live session, you can click on the Cloud Pack Explorer button and essentially upload those documents right onto the whiteboard. So if you have a paper there, you can click on it, upload it onto the whiteboard, and then the tutor and you can look at that document together. Okay, so that's essentially how the live sessions work. If you're connected in a Meet session, you'll have these same options here. But of course, in a Meet session, you might invite 3 or 4 or 5 or more people, so you could have more people here in the participants box. And of course, everyone would be looking at the same whiteboard. They can all type on the board. They can all send chat messages, and you can also use audio, as I mentioned before. Okay, so that's essentially everything that's offered. So everything I wanted to go over today. But are there any other questions I can answer, or anything I can go over again?
I don't have any questions. I think it looks really nice. Linda, I was wondering, did you get the link for the building block information yet?
No, I did not.
Okay, so Jimmy, maybe that's another thing that you could check on for us. We need information on the building blocks for installing it in Blackboard.
Yeah, I'll check with Sam about that.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the training, it's been 38 minutes. This is a typical training, correct?
Yeah, typical. If you want it to be shorter, I can do a shorter version as well.
Well, I was thinking maybe in July I might have you do a couple for some of our tutors.
Sure.
They could get a preview of this. Just maybe a short, wouldn't have to be everything, but just kind of how to log in and the live help and the writing lab and so forth.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
So in August, then we'd set this up in a classroom with a projector and then do it that way.
Yep, that's fine. That's how most people do it when they have a larger group. So yeah, if you want to do that when you have times in mind, dates and times, just reach out to me and I'll get that set up.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yes, very nice. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks for attending.
Okay,
Have a-
thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.